The ratchetry is real. Well, I wanted to start a vlog, I guess about a year and a half ago now. I just actually watched the video on my computer. I don't know that I ever actually even uploaded it to YouTube. I wanted to document my first year of college, which was at the time going to be a community college in the area, and ended up not working out for financial reasons. My financial aid had to be verified, and they were a mess and just didn't work out. So I ended up just going straight to my school that I wanted to go to, which was also in the area. I go to Shepherd University, and I wanted to study music. I wanted to study choral music education, and I was so set on it. But yeah, my first year in college did not go how I thought it would for a lot of reasons. Um, so that time that I was going to start at the community college was the spring semester before the fall semester that I actually started college. And it's kind of crazy everything that happened. Man, I am a Christian, and I firmly believe that God talks to you. Not in some like crazy like type of way, but in the sense of, it's like, if you really believe in God and you're praying and you have this strong faith, he will tell you what you need to know. And sometimes it's through a feeling, and other times it's sometimes I get feelings and then like about things, and then other times I actually feel like I get these like thoughts that they're not really my own, like they just like come into my head. It's not like I have voices in my head. It's just like there's like what happened before I started school. I did my orientation in July. We're getting close to that year since that happened, actually. During my orientation, I remember looking at the Frank Center, which is the music building at the school, and I had this thought that I was going to meet a guy and like fall in love and blah blah blah. And I just remember, I knew that was like, it was God. If for all you people that might be watching that think that that's silly, it was God. And he was saying, you're going to meet someone that's going to be very important to your life, every time that I saw the Frank Center. And I remember being like, yeah, okay, we see how well that's worked out for me. My dating life was almost non-existent, and I didn't really know why. Guys just weren't interested in me. And I just remember thinking, yeah, that's not gonna happen. I'm just gonna go to school, I might make some friends, and I'm gonna learn music. And that's what I'm gonna do. And then I had to do marching band. Yeah, this is gonna be great for some of you guys for this joke that's about to happen. I had to do marching band as a part of my requirement for my major. I had to get 1 credit of band. So I thought I'd be slick and do color guard to get out of having to learn how to play an instrument. And, I love performing. I knew the guard instructor. I knew her from doing show choir in high school. So I thought that would be okay. And I get to band camp, and our theme that year was Blues Brothers. And so we had to have our 2 Blues Brothers. And so our first day of band camp, our band director, he, has us all sit in this auditorium, and he says, okay, I want you to meet your Blues Brothers. And he says, this is Wayne and this is Dan. And I saw Dan, and I was just like, oh my gosh. Like, I didn't completely know what it was, but it was just like this, like, woo type thing. And all of a sudden I felt weird. And then I remember being like, thinking there were a few guys that were attractive that were in the band, and also thinking they'll never give me the time of day because I'm a freshman, even though I was 20 and they were all like 21, 22. So, what are you gonna do? But Dan, he was 22, and I remember being like, I don't know how I'm gonna get his attention. And I remember during band camp, I tried so many things to try to get him to talk to me. I'm not completely positive, but I think I might have made up a story that I ran into a friend of mine who asked me if I knew Dan Dunn because he was the only guy that he knew that was in the band. I can't remember if that's actually what the conversation was and if that's like what he actually asked me, but I used that, and I tried to talk to him so many times, and he didn't remember me. He doesn't remember meeting me until 3 days before he asked me out. No, 2 days before he asked me out. 3 days before our first date. Oh man. It took so much. But fortunately, the reason that he noticed me was because he was bringing all this dessert food that his one of his pastors from his church let him take for the music majors to have for free. You know, starving musicians. And I remember I saw him coming and I was like, oh, this could be one of my ends. So I opened the door and I started singing Danny Boy. The, oh, Danny Boy, the pipes are calling. And he was like, no. And it was kind of funny. But well, not to him, but I thought it was funny. And I was talking to him and I was like, where'd you get all this food? And he says, from my church. And I was like, what? You go to church? What church do you go to? And he was like, Covenant. And I was like, I grew up there. That's where I went for most of my life when I moved to West Virginia when I was 7. And he was just like, oh my gosh. And then I saw it. I saw it in his eye. He got all excited. And we started talking a little bit and ended up knowing some people. And then a couple days later, I remember our first date was supposed to be going to church together. And yeah, it was great. But we ended up, he gave me his number, but I guess he was nervous or something, and he put a wrong number in, like a wrong digit. And so then I remember the only Facebook message that we have between each other is, you never texted me. And then I responded, I did. You gave me the wrong number. And then he texted me, and almost instantly the first thing he said was, hey, I have some friends in this awesome ska band, and I was wondering if you would want to go with me because they're from out of town, but they're performing in Maryland. And I was just like, okay. And then I started to think, wait, I don't actually know this guy. Like, and he wants to drive me to Hagerstown, which isn't that far, but, enough away. Being in a car alone, I was like, oh wait, did I just make a mistake? But it's okay. It was great. It was awesome. And those guys were awesome. And Survey Sets, check them out. But yeah, and it was great. And then, the next day we went to church together, and it was really funny because he had kind of been making a splash at the church and hadn't been there for a full year yet. And then there's a lot of people at the church that knew me already and just hadn't seen me for a while, and they saw us walk in together, and it was kind of funny. But yeah, that was September 6th was our first date, and that is, I think, 2 months and 10 days from now. So that's really cool. And this is the first long-term relationship I've ever been in, and the first relationship he's ever been in that has lasted more than, like, I think he said like 4 months or something. So long-term relationship for both of us, really. And I don't know, it's really cool. He wants to be a youth pastor. Right now he's actually not here. He is 5.5 hours away doing a youth pastor internship with the pastor that actually gave him the food that was the reason that we had a conversation about church. that pastor ended up leaving our church because he felt called to be a youth pastor at this new church up in Connecticut. And it's apparently going really well for him, and I'm really glad. And, now my boyfriend gets to learn too. And he's going to be home on my birthday, which is in a little over a month. And then his birthday is in less than a month now. Our birthdays are like a little over 2 weeks apart. It's kind of cool because it goes like his birthday, his dad's birthday, my birthday, his mom's birthday. So I'm like, yeah, I'm right in there. And it's a lot of fun. And I just like, I sit in awe like all the time about the fact that I'm in this relationship, and I finished my first year of college, which was the struggle. I got a concussion from doing color guard. Man, I messed up half of my semester, my first semester of college, because of the concussion. I messed up my second semester of college because I was all jacked up kind of still from my concussion. I mean, I was a month out from the concussion and still symptomatic, and still failing the neuro exams. I got the concussion the last day of September, and I was into November and still really struggling. And my dad played football in high school and had like 3 concussions, and got so frustrated sometimes because he never reacted to any of his concussions the way I did to my one. So that was a lot of fun for me. And I ended up failing a bunch of my classes my second semester because I just couldn't hack it, I guess, because I was taking 12 classes my first semester of college, and then I was taking 9. And my first semester I was taking 16 credit hours, and my second semester I think I was taking 15 credit hours. So yeah, I was taking a lot. I had 3 gen ed classes, which were 3 credit hours each, and then the rest were music classes. So that was a lot of fun because my music classes are all like 1 credit each. But after struggling so much this past year, I actually ended up deciding to stop studying music, which a part of me is really sad about, but another part of me is really relieved because it takes so much effort. And, it takes this physical and emotional and mental toll on you that you just really wouldn't realize, and I love performing. My head of my department, actually, he directed the opera that I was required to be in, being in the women's choir. And a lot of his notes, every single time he sent out notes, there was something that he said about me. I remember the first notes he put out, I was the only person in the choir that got any recognition, and I was the only person who had a positive note, which was really cool because my choir director in high school hated me, and she never gave me recognition whatsoever. Even when people tried to, she would knock it down and not let me have it at all. And so that was cool. And then like the last set of notes he sent out, he said that I was doing a really awesome job and that I was a lot of the times more convincing than some of the principal characters, and that I stood out over a lot of the choir members. But he said that it was cool because I just made it more believable, which, I don't know, that was, for me, that was a lot of validation that I never got in high school, that I always so desperately wanted. And I don't know, it's just, there was a lot of things that were cool about that year. And then there's a lot of things that kind of sucked, but there's so much good that came from this past year, and I can't be upset with it. Even I had a really hard time with my boyfriend leaving. He left a few days after 8 months, which, that's not like that much. I've realized that, now, like, I see all these, like, new couples, and they're like, happy 1 month, happy 2 months, happy 4 months, and even like 6 months, and I'm just like, that's not even that long, and it blows my mind that now I think that when back this time last year, I thought a month was awesome. A month for me was a milestone. So now getting almost to that year mark, I just can't believe it. And it's like, wow. I have so many things to be thankful for and grateful for that happened this year. And now this video is really long, and oh man. Well, I guess I'm gonna cut it off for now and see how this goes. Vlog attempt round 2. More than just college.